Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you stories that touch the heart, challenge the mind, and remind us that heroes sometimes wear leather jackets instead of capes. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay till the end, because today's story will leave you speechless. It all started in a quiet little town tucked between dusty highways and tall pine trees. The kind of place where everyone knew everyone, or at least, they thought they did. The local diner, Maggie's Place, was the heart of the town. Truckers stopped for coffee, locals came for gossip, and bikers often rolled in after long rides just to grab a burger and rest their tired feet. That's where Emily worked. She was a waitress, sweet, polite, and always smiling. Everyone liked her, but recently, people had noticed something different. Her once bright smile had started to fade. She wore long sleeves even on hot days, kept her hair down to cover her face, and flinched whenever someone moved too fast near her. No one asked questions, maybe because they didn't want to know the answers. Until one night, when the Iron Serpent's motorcycle club rolled into town. Their leader, Jack Razor Thompson, was known for his no-nonsense attitude, a sharp mind, and a past that made most men nervous. He was rough around the edges, but those who truly knew him said he had a code: never harm the innocent, always protect your own, and never ignore injustice. That night, the Iron Serpents parked their roaring bikes outside Maggie's Place. The engines rumbled, the neon sign flickered, and the door swung open. The whole diner went silent for a moment as the men in leather jackets walked in, their boots echoing against the floor. Emily looked up, forcing a polite smile. "Evenin', fellas," she said softly, clutching her notepad. "What'll it be tonight?" Jack smiled faintly. "Coffee, black, and whatever burger's best on the menu." Emily nodded quickly and walked away, but as she turned, Jack noticed something: a faint purple mark on her wrist where her sleeve had slipped. He didn't say anything at first, but when she reached up to grab a coffee pot, the sleeve fell further, revealing more bruises, not the kind from accidents, but the kind left by someone's hand. Jack's jaw tightened. His eyes followed her as she moved from table to table, trying her best to stay cheerful. He could tell she was afraid. When she placed his coffee down, her hands trembled slightly. "You okay, sweetheart?" he asked quietly. She froze, forcing another smile. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just long shift." Jack didn't press, but inside, something stirred. He'd seen those kinds of bruises before, on his sister years ago, before he'd taken her away from a man who thought love meant control. As the night went on, a tall man entered the diner, wearing a leather jacket, but not the kind bikers wore. His eyes were dark, his jaw clenched. Emily saw him and immediately went pale. Jack noticed it too. The man sat in the corner, glaring at her. When Emily tried to take his order, he grabbed her wrist tightly. "You forgot to answer your phone," he hissed. She winced in pain. "Please, not here," she whispered. Jack stood up. The whole diner turned their heads. The air thickened with tension. "Is there a problem here?" Jack's deep voice cut through the silence. The man turned, sizing him up. "Mind your business, old man. She's my girl." Jack stepped closer, calm but deadly. "Didn't look like she wanted to be yours." The man smirked, leaning back. "You don't know who you're talking to." Jack's voice dropped lower. "Don't need to. I can already tell what kind you are." Emily tried to defuse it. "Please, Jack, don't." But before she could finish, the man slammed his hand on the table. "Stay out of this." Jack's crew, a half-dozen hardened bikers, rose from their seats. Boots scraped against the floor. The man looked around nervously. He wasn't expecting this kind of attention. Jack leaned down, close enough for only the man to hear. "You ever lay a hand on her again, you'll answer to me. Understand?" The man glared but said nothing. Jack straightened up and nodded to Emily. "You all right?" Tears filled her eyes, but she nodded. "Yeah, thank you." The man stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The diner went quiet again, everyone whispering. Jack sat back down, pretending it was over. But he knew, it wasn't. Men like that didn't walk away easily. That night, after the diner closed, Emily stepped outside, shivering in the cool air. She looked around nervously. Jack was still there, leaning against his motorcycle, cigarette in hand. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said softly. "I have to walk home," she murmured. "It's only a few blocks." "I'll ride behind you," Jack offered. She hesitated but then nodded. As they made their way down the quiet street, Emily walked fast, eyes darting. Suddenly, from the shadows, the same man appeared, fury in his face. He lunged toward her, shouting. Before he could reach her, Jack was off his bike in a second, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him against a wall. "I warned you," Jack growled. The man struggled. "She's mine." "No," Jack said coldly. "She's not property. And tonight, you just lost your last excuse." He threw the man to the ground and called out to one of his men. "Doc, call Sheriff Peterson. Tell him we've got a case of assault right here." Within minutes, the local sheriff, who happened to know Jack from way back, arrived. The man was arrested on the spot. Emily stood there, crying, trembling, unable to believe it was finally over. Jack handed her his jacket. "It's okay now. You're safe." For the first time in months, she smiled, a real, genuine smile. In the days that followed, word spread around town about what had happened. Some people whispered that the Iron Serpents were trouble. But others, especially the women who had suffered in silence, saw something else. Emily didn't return to the diner right away. She took some time off, stayed with her sister in another town, and slowly started rebuilding her life. Jack and his crew continued passing through, but every time they came back, they asked Maggie how Emily was doing. A month later, one bright afternoon, the roar of motorcycles filled the streets again. The Iron Serpents had returned, and this time, Emily was behind the counter, smiling, stronger than ever. She walked over with confidence. "Coffee, right, black?" she asked Jack. He grinned. "You remembered. Hard to forget the man who saved my life," she said quietly. Jack looked around at his crew. "You did that yourself, kid. You just needed someone to remind you you're worth saving." As they talked, an older couple sitting nearby overheard and asked, "Is it true what they say? You took down that guy who was hurting her?" Jack chuckled. "Nah, the law did that. We just gave him a little push in the right direction." The story spread further. How a biker gang, often feared and misunderstood, had protected a small town waitress when no one else would. It became a symbol of something bigger, that goodness can come from unexpected places, and courage doesn't always look like a badge or a uniform. Later that week, Maggie, the diner's owner, came up to Jack. "I've been thinking," she said. "You and your boys ever need a place to eat, it's on the house." Jack smiled. "Appreciate it, ma'am. But we always pay our way." She laughed. "Suit yourself. Just, thank you for what you did." Jack nodded. Sometimes people like him think they can break others and walk away. "I don't let that happen. Not on my watch." Emily eventually moved into her own apartment, started taking classes in social work, and began volunteering at a local women's shelter. She wanted to help others like her, women who felt trapped, afraid, invisible. And every so often, when she heard the distant sound of motorcycle engines, she'd smile. She knew her friends were passing through. One night, months later, she found a small envelope slipped under the diner door. Inside was a simple note. "Keep shining, kid. The world needs more of your kind. Razor." Emily folded the note carefully and tucked it into her apron pocket. That night, As she served customers, she realized something powerful. Sometimes angels ride Harleys, and sometimes justice wears black leather. Years passed, but people in that little town still talked about the night the iron serpents came to Maggie's place. Parents told their kids the story not as a tale of violence, but of courage, of standing up for what's right, even when no one else will. And Jack Razor Thompson, he never bragged about it. He didn't see himself as a hero. He was just a man who refused to look the other way when someone was hurting. He told his crew later, as they rode down the highway under a fading sunset, "You don't need to be perfect to do the right thing. You just need to care enough to act." The engines roared, the wind whipped through their jackets, and the world blurred by. Another town, another road, another story waiting to be written. And somewhere, back in that diner, a young woman was smiling again, living proof that even the roughest hearts can bring hope, that kindness can come from unexpected places, and that one act of courage can change everything. So, the next time you see someone struggling, don't turn away. Maybe, just maybe, you're the person meant to make a difference.